Hi everyone, I'm really grateful for the opportunity to speak to you about Phil. I'm going to talk briefly about how we got to know each other, and then I'm going to talk about what I think I learned from him, and then I'm going to share a piece of music that we crafted together. So my journey with him began when I was 18 through this serendipitous opportunity to perform a duet with him. And at the conclusion of the performance, Phil barged over to the piano to put me into a headlock, and I still remember the feeling of somehow it was elevating to my inner sense of becoming a musician in the future, if I can put it in those terms. And I was totally dumbfounded that such a person would choose me and do that. Fast forward 10 years, and Phil and I have our first duet concert together. And to the astonishment of everyone, especially me, his accompanist, Phil decides to just abandon the repertoire and improvise freely for the entire concert. That first performance actually became our first album called Beginnings, which wasn't just titled to say this is the beginning of a new project, but it was a beginning of perhaps a musical reinvention for both of us, him at 81 at the time, and maybe equally significantly, the beginning of a unusual or special type of friendship and musical rapport that Phil told me often dumbfounded him. So from ages 81 to 96, Phil and I performed roughly 100 concerts together from Newfoundland to British Columbia and up to the Yukon. And in those 15 years of many phone calls, adventures in airports, hotels, cars, trains, music venues, restaurants, there were two themes which rang through. And these are the two things I think I really learned from him. The first is sort of lighter, and the second one is a bit darker, perhaps. The first one is, no matter where we were or what we were doing, Phil always wanted to make a meaningful personal connection with people. And sometimes at the expense of, etiquette. So for example, like he would take delight in the middle of a concert, just breaking into a spontaneous conversation with a random person in the audience. Or once at a Starbucks, he was totally trolling a barista for not knowing what he meant by B-flat coffee. And the second theme, which was the bit of the darker one, was Phil's concern over technology encroaching on us and impacting us psychologically in a way that we weren't quite aware. So he never spoke about it in direct terms, so I'm sort of piecing this together, but if I would summarize, it would be almost like by our interdependence on technology, if I can put it that way, somehow the algorithms are creeping into our subconscious and, limiting our experiences to only things which are quantifiable in data, which of course can't properly capture personal connections with people or, the profound impact of certain types of personal experiences, including musical performance. So this influenced me to really value and treasure the 200 hours of improvised music that we crafted together as one such example of this non-quantifiable experience. The experience specifically isn't the music, it's the non-verbal dialogue that we had across, the 5 decades that separated us in age. And, with that in mind, I'm going to share one of our improvisations. And, now that Phil's not here, these performances are certainly more special to me. And when I listen to them, I always get the same feeling of there's a sort of musical door that's opening up, and I can look through the door and I see Phil on the other side. So I think this would be a good chance for us to just sort of go in that place as we listen. And, I just also want to say, Phil is 87 years old at the time of the performance you're about to hear. And thanks very much for listening and the chance to connect this way.